Good evening and welcome to the River Valley Sports Report. This is the first episode. I'm your host, Joe Brooks, with my co-host, Joey Powers, where we're going to take a weekly look at the area sports for Fall Mountain and Bellows Falls High Schools, as well as some of the other regional schools in the district, in the area, And I'm looking forward to it, as we're looking forward to providing a different media outlet for kids to grow these days. Back when I was a kid, it was definitely different, and digital media wasn't nearly as prevalent as print media. Looking forward also to talking about the differences in sports that have happened over the last 20 years since my friend Joey Powers and co-host and I've really sat down and discussed sports. Times were different back in the early 2000s when Joey and I had heated debates about steroid use in baseball and everything else going wild at that time, even who was better, The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin. So on that note, I'm going to pass it off to Joey Powers to give a little introduction to himself.
Welcome, folks. Joe and I both grew up in this area, Joe being a graduate of Fall Mountain High School and myself being a graduate of Bellows Falls Union High School. We both grew up playing local sports, both baseball and football. It's a strong tradition in this area. Local sports has always been huge in Bellows Falls and the Fall Mountain District. And like you said, we didn't have this access to this kind of stuff growing up. We had to read about our names in the newspaper and stuff like that. But now we're going to try to reach out to the community and show everybody what we have access to now.
All right, so we're going to talk about a recap for the Shrine Game this year between Vermont and New Hampshire. A lot of local interest in this one. Two local athletes, Carson Clark and Eli Albee, were participants for the Vermont team, as well as the entire Vermont coaching staff was the Bellows Falls coaching staff. Ryan Sandberg and Bob Lockerbie were the coaches for the team. So Vermont ended up winning 19-14, which was their third straight win, which is, I forget the number, but it's something like the first time in 45 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Since Vermont has won 3. So I know Bellows Falls is consistently putting players through the Shrine Game in the history of their program. So just another great tip of the hat to the football program here at Bellows Falls that I'm sure we'll dive into a little later on as we go. But right now, let's dive into Spring Sports Review for what happened at the end of last year.
So Bellows Falls baseball this year went 11-7, losing in the second round of the playoffs to Green Mountain. Outgoing seniors Eli Albee and Will Halleck received first-team all-conference selections, while underclassmen Jaden Bazin and Steven Joslin were named honorable mentions.
The softball team went 13-6, third in the Southern Valley B district. They lost in the semifinals to eventual champion Oxbow. Izzy Studley and Emma McCullough were both named to the North-South game, while Izzy Studley was on the first-team all-conference. Joining her on the first-team all-conference was Grace Hayes, while Brielle Mulverhill was named an honorable mention. During the season, Izzy Studley set what is now a school record by recording her 500th strikeout. I believe the number is 568 for her career.
As for tennis, they went 7-1 this year, good for third place in the district, lost in quarterfinals to Harwood Union. Making the first team all-district were Avery Doyle, Maylee Illingworth, Gwen Guild, and Natalie Douglas. Head coach Dave Chesley won Coach of the Year.
For the Bellows Falls track teams, at the state meets, the boys finished 7th overall in Division III, and the girls finished state runner-up with second place finish at the state championship meet. Many Bellows Falls individuals won state titles. Brandon Keller won the 110-meter hurdles and the 300-meter hurdles. Both were personal records. Desi Broadley won the 3,000 meters. The girls' 4x800 relay team of Avery Maxfield, Elias Thurber, Jillian Robb, and Desi Broadley won first place. Laura Camel took home first place in the discus. Veronica Moore took home first place in the javelin, which was a personal record. Runners-up at the state meet included Hadley Gleim with a 100-meter and the triple jump. Laura Camel finished second in the javelin. Third place at the state meet to round out the podium was Nola Shaka with the javelin, giving Bellows Falls first, second, and third on the podium at the state meet in the javelin. And the girls' 4x100 relay of Hadley Gleim, Elias Thurber, Avery Maxfield, and Abby Nystrom brought home third place. Joey, let's talk about the all-conference selections for the track team.
First team all-conference girls, Desi Broadley, Laura Camel, Hadley Gleim. Honorable mentions Nola Shaka, Avery Maxfield, Elise Thurber. First team all-conference boys, Brandon Keller, Tristan Boylan. Honorable mention boys, Connor Jones.
All right, as we look ahead at the 2020-25 fall season, let's take a look at the Bellows Falls football team to start with. Last year, they finished 7-3. They were 4-1, tied for first in the league. They scored 31.8 points per game and gave up 18 points per game. They lost in the semifinals to eventual state champion Fairhaven. This season, Max Prep's website has Bellows Falls listed as the number 9 ranked school in all of Vermont. Joey?
Top returning on offense, linemen Stephen Joslin and Broxton Lovell were second team all-district. Running back Patrick Connors was an honorable mention. On the defensive side of the ball, defensive lineman Connor Perry, linebacker Patrick Connors, and defensive back Jaden Basin were all named first team all-state. Broxton Lovell received second team honors on the offensive line.
All right. I was able to attend a preseason, practice today. It wasn't quite a full preseason get-together for the Terriers football team. And I want to first off thank Coach Lockerbie and his staff for graciously welcoming me into the practice, taking a few minutes to actually talk with me and converse with me a little bit. It was my first time having been inside a Bellows Falls football practice, having been a Fall Mountain graduate. So one of the things I was asking Coach Lockerbie was this year they're dropping down from Division 2 to Division 3, Joey. And one of the couple things that he brought up as a concern was their travel is going to be a lot different this year than it was last year as a Division 3 school, or a Division 2 school, I'm sorry. Their closest road trip is Woodstock this year. So they go to Leiden, they go to Mount Mansfield, and they go to North Country. You've made those trips before, so that's got to be a detriment to what they're looking forward to.
My sophomore year in high school, we went to Linden and North Country both. Linden was a day game, so we had to leave at like 8 o'clock in the morning because, as you know, it's a long ride, plus you're on a school bus. Right. So it's not like you're going 85, 90 miles an hour on the interstate. North Country was a night game. That was not, and I think I told you earlier, we lost both of them. Yeah. So it wasn't like, it's not fun to have a 2.5, 3 hour ride and get your butt kicked. Right. But then on top of it, the North Country game didn't end until almost 11 o'clock. We didn't get home till like 2:30 in the morning, and after getting beat by like 3 touchdowns, that's not a lot of fun, Joe. Right. So that is a legitimate challenge that I hadn't necessarily thought of. It was something you and I, when we were doing some basketball games, we kind of talked about as we saw some of these smaller schools come in, and it really is just a matter of their enrollment for the years or whatnot. So it's definitely a thing to keep an eye on. One of the other things that he mentioned was they're going to be playing some teams they haven't played in a long time. Both Windsor and Springfield have made the schedule this year, as well as Woodstock. So in one way it is nice that they have some more of the local rivalries coming back, but it is a challenge now that these are kids they haven't played against, they haven't seen, coaches they haven't coached against. That is a good point because, yes, they did drop down a division, so you think it might be easier, but it's the unknown factor, the fact that they haven't played these teams before, and then they are going to be traveling longer. Woodstock, we said probably 45 minutes to an hour, and that's your closest road game. Right. It would have been nice to play Springfield on the road because that's like 20 minutes, maybe. Right. So that is definitely going to be an obstacle, something that I didn't think of when you told me that they were dropping down. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be a challenge for the team this year. And I was also able to catch up with Ryan Studley a little bit, and he was telling me that one of the big things that's exciting for the team this year, all 5 of their starting linemen are coming back. They're all upperclassmen, juniors and seniors. The starting tight end is going to be a senior as well. So a lot of leadership on that line, and that's something I want to touch on, Joey. Having not been part of this program, having grown up playing Fall Mountain, but I grew up in the Pee Wee program, one thing I noticed was the culture immediately struck me within the Bellows Falls football program. The leaders in that team are showing the younger kids how to do it, what's expected, and they're not ribbing each other. They're supporting each other through it. I saw one kid stumbled a little bit during one of the drills today. The whole team came over, started clapping for him, letting him know that they had his back. It was refreshing to see just how bought into the culture, I guess is the way to put it, because Bellows Falls has been a very successful football program for a very long time. Absolutely. Bellows Falls has always been known for being a football town. Lately, it's turning into a football/field hockey town because the field hockey team has just been so insane. But yeah, when I was in high school, when we played football, I only played my freshman and sophomore year, but every Friday night the team got together after practice and we got to somebody's house. We'd always get pizza, we'd always get movies, and we'd just hang out. It was a great atmosphere, It was just something that, it was like a camaraderie, It was like we were like a family. We weren't just friends, we were a family, We all stuck up for each other, and that's something that's been a Bellows Falls legacy for years. And that was another thing that was mentioned to me by the coaches was that the kids are picking each other up and giving each other rides and stuff
stuff back and forth to practice, which is huge, especially in the summer where you're not already at the school. You know, to be able to get up to the school, sure, it's walking distance for a lot of the kids, but not for everybody. And they do have 2 kids from Vermont Academy and a kid from a school in Putney this year. Schools that don't have football programs can participate at Bellows Falls. So the 39 kids, 36 are from Bellows Falls School itself and 2 from outside.
But that was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that was something that we didn't offer when I was in school. We didn't have outsiders come and play. So that's a nice thing that Bellows Falls offers now, because not everybody can afford to have a football program, you know. So
football's not a cheap program to run.
No, it's not, and that's very gracious of them to allow people from other towns to come in and play.
Right. So, now that we've talked a little bit about what we've seen so far with the football team, Joey, let's dive into the soccer program.
So unfortunately, the boys' soccer, as you told me, haven't been good for a little while. They struggled this past season, going 0-16, obviously last. 27 goals scored and 125 given up. The good thing about that is you can only go up from there. You know, so I mean, hopefully they have a stronger season. Senior Malik Gordon was a D3 All-State selection at midfielder for the Terriers last year. Gordon also earned first-team All-Conference, and fellow outgoing senior Tristan Boylan was an honorable mention. The Terriers are a young team with defender Connor Stevens listed as the only senior on this year's team. They're coached by Frank Peterson. As for the girls, they went 6-12 this past year, 27 goals scored, 54 goals allowed. Lost in the first round of the D3 playoffs to eventual champion Bellows Free Academy. Leaving the Terriers from last season is first-team All-Selection Laura Camel and honorable mention Aubrey Maxfield. Seniors Maisie Farrank and Gwendolyn Guild look to lead a team filled with juniors and experience, while returning junior Abby Nystrom is coming off a season in which she was named an honorable mention to the all-conference team. Now let's dive into field hockey.
So field hockey is a sport that I was not familiar with, and I'm very excited to actually learn a little bit about now that I'm doing this show. We didn't have it at Fall Mountain, so it's not anything I've ever participated in at any level. So I started digging into this a little bit right now, and I see that last season the team went 14-1-1. Their one loss was in the semifinals to eventual state champion South Burlington. The Terriers are poised to be right at the top again this year, despite losing 6 seniors. Earning all-state honors last year were graduated seniors Emma Bazin, Nola Shaka, who were named to the first team, while Izzy Studley and Hadley Lime were honorable mentions. This year's team has also got plenty of leadership of their own, with 6 seniors, led by senior Veronica Moore, who is also a first-team all-conference player year. Moore is a goal scorer who will be continuing her career at the Division I level at the University of New Haven. Other talented seniors for 2025 include Avery Dole, Olivia Halleck, Addie Bacon, Allie Streeter, Miley Illingsworth. Returning between the pipes is junior Brooke Parker, who earned all-conference honorable mention last year. Coach Bethany Corson is closing in on 250 career wins and has also won 5 state championships, while also being the reigning coach of the year. So, Joey, as you mentioned earlier in discussion about the football team, they've developed quite a powerful field hockey team as well.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, 5 championships. Actually, when I first started working at this TV station years ago is when they started winning. And one of the fathers of one of the field hockey players was gracious enough to take his own camera, go and film all the games for us, edit it, put the score in and everything, and then bring it for us to schedule onto the TV station.
That's awesome.
You know, so that was really cool. And he asked for nothing in return.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
So, so now we're going to dive into our next segment, which is called Let's Catch Up. As we move forward, we're hoping to catch up with a few more coaches here or there to expand our fall preview, maybe get just a little more firsthand experience with some practices going to. So, Joey, let's dive into Let's Catch Up.
So we haven't really gotten into it yet, but this is what this segment's kind of about. I'm a diehard Yankees fan. Joe's a diehard Red Sox fan. I'm a Knicks fan. Joe's a Celtics fan. Yep. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. Joe's a Florida State Seminole fan. You know, so we have a rivalry when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
You mentioned before, who was better, The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Right.
You know, that was always a debate when we were younger, you know, because they were the 2 biggest stars in the sport by far.
Debating sports was just something that came naturally to us.
Exactly.
And it immediately, as soon as we started calling basketball games, that's what we did whenever there was a timeout, whenever there was a dead ball, it was right back into talking sports.
Right. It's just like riding a bike.
But since then, a lot of things have changed in sports.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most people don't know who The Rock is. They know who Dwayne Johnson is now, you know?
Right.
But he was actually The Rock, and that's what made him a star.
Right.
And now, like we were talking about it before, now he's everywhere.
Right.
You know, he's in every movie. He's in, I don't know how many different series now. Jungle Cruise has a series now. He's in the Fast and the Furious franchise now.
Yeah, he's done very well to make himself more than just a wrestler for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I said, he actually is a pretty good actor.
Right.
You know, it's just he's too much. He's everywhere. You know, it's like enough's enough, Rocky.
Like I said, I'm a little too far behind. Like I'm like that stereotype of New England where we're 5 years behind everything. I'm 5 years behind in pop culture. I had to go see who some of the actual cameos were in Happy Gilmore too, because I could tell it was someone who was supposed to know who it was, but I couldn't figure it out because I just haven't kept up enough.
So that's a question I have for you. Did you watch the whole movie?
Oh, absolutely.
What'd you think?
It was what I expected.
Okay, because I started watching it, like 5 minutes into it, I was like, I'm done.
No, I didn't expect an Emmy award-winning movie.
No, exactly.
I expected cameos, crude humor, and some moments that made me laugh. And I love golf. So part of it's just the joy.
One thing I read is it was the biggest opening ever on Netflix in its first weekend.
Yeah.
Like 43 million views or something like that.
I could certainly see that.
That shocked me.
So, I mean, everyone I knew saw it the first weekend, so.
I mean, I did. I watched Happy Gilmore and then started watching Happy Gilmore too, and I was like, it just wasn't for me. I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan to begin with. Yeah. I own the first Happy Gilmore and I own Billy Madison.
Yeah. No, it was what I expected, and I was pleased with it. So
you're right. I mean, you're not expecting Adam Sandler to be nominated for an Oscar.
No, this gave me laughs, and I enjoyed it, and it was golf, and that was fun too. So let's get into the the two topics for tonight. The first one I want to talk about, Joey, is the advanced metrics in baseball. To me, this makes baseball harder to follow. And honestly, I think it kind of makes baseball not as good as it once was.
I agree. Absolutely.
You sit there and you see stats. The acronyms are just off the charts now for what they produce.
They have something for everything.
And they find a way to justify a player being a good player if he's got one stat that's extraordinary.
Right.
Like I see like a lot of guys, they'll do this like exit velocity. Well, he hits the ball really hard. Well, he only hits the ball, he's only hitting 200. So I'd rather have a guy who gets more hits. Like I've debated this with other people in the past. Like guys like Tony Gwynn wouldn't get scouted today.
No.
Like a guy like Luis Ariz of the San Diego Padres. He's won 3 batting titles.
You're right.
Nobody wants him.
Right. No, exactly.
But why?
I mean, when you mention Tony Gwynn, you're talking about one of the best hitters of our generation.
Right.
Without question. I mean, you think of him, you think of Wade Boggs.
But I guarantee you he doesn't have these exit velocities and all these other eye-popping
like
charts.
Wins above replacement, all this crap. Yeah,
but all he did was get hits.
Yeah.
And get on base and not strike out.
I mean, I want to say he's a career 338 average.
I believe I've seen stats where he could go like 0 for 3 seasons and still hit over 300.
I mean, he hit the strike-shortened season of 1994. If they didn't go on strike, he had a chance to hit 400.
Yeah.
Because he hit 394.
Right.
You know?
But like players like that are lost today. A guy like Greg Maddux. Would Greg Maddux get scouted in high school throwing 85 miles an hour?
Nope.
I mean, he doesn't have spin rate. He doesn't have, he doesn't throw 100. He just
what he does have?
He just dots and knows how to pitch.
4 Cy Youngs, 300 wins, and 15 Gold Gloves.
This was actually a debate that came on a NESN broadcast that Jim Rice mentioned, where he said he thought pitchers today weren't as good as pitchers back in the day. Now, a lot of people kind of took that, I think, a little out of context, where they were saying, well, guys today are throwing 100 with movement all over the place. I agree. That's tougher to hit.
Right.
I think pitching itself was better in the 80s, 90s than it is now.
I do too.
Because pitchers pitched.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just throw it as hard as they could, spin it as best they could, all this or that. They just knew how to pitch. Greg Maddux could get 85 pitches, be done with the ball game, and not break 90 miles an hour.
Exactly.
To me, that's the argument that I think Jim Rice was making, was pitching then was better overall. Not that pitchers don't have better stuff now.
Right.
Sure, the stuff now, I mean, you see this. You see the stat track stuff where the ball moves from the guy's arms to the other side of the plate. Like, it's wild. But I think just the art of pitching itself.
No, I agree. I mean, going back to Greg Maddux even, look at that staff, though, on the Braves. I mean, Greg Maddux didn't throw 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Tom Glavine didn't throw 100 miles an hour.
Smoltz was probably the hardest thrower.
Yeah, right.
Mid-90s.
Steve Avery didn't throw 100 miles an hour. But you know what? They went to the World Series how many times?
Time and time
I know
again.
they only won one.
Same with those A's teams in the Moneyball era.
Right.
They had Mulder and Zito and all those guys.
Hudson, yep.
Right. And none of them were guys throwing 100 miles an hour. And that's the thing, is no one's throwing 100 miles for 9 innings.
No.
They're throwing it for 5, 6 at the most at this point, where they're still getting that up. Maybe 7. And I have seen, guys in the high 90s still finishing games this year. A few guys, not that I can name all of them, but I certainly seen Garrett Crochet go to the 9th inning with 90 plus. And there's a few other guys I've seen do it too, but it's just escaping my memory at the moment. But it's rare.
Right.
And to have that guy that can throw that hard all the way through the game, whereas back then, you'd see a guy like start off with their B stuff just to get through the lineup the first time, but dotting here, dotting there, and then all of a sudden they've got 95 in the tank for the 7th or 8th inning when they absolutely need it. Yep. And now they're burnt out by then.
Yeah. And a lot of guys now are on pitch counts too, because a lot of managers are afraid of them throwing out their arms because it's been happening a lot. I mean, perfect example, I'm the Yankees fan, Garrett Cole. Right. Just won the Cy Young a couple of years ago. He's off the year.
And this is one of the other topics from it, is it makes it so hard for the arm injuries because there's such an investment now that you don't let them go that long. So is that a detriment to the game as well? Like, I've seen a lot of arguments now where how do you make starting pitchers go longer? One argument I saw that I am interested in your opinion is you tie the designated hitter to the starting pitcher. You take your pitcher out, you lose the DH.
No, that's fair.
I mean, to me, that makes you have to make a decision as a manager. Okay, this guy's in trouble in the 4th inning. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Do I go get him, or do I let him work through this because I don't want to lose my designated hitter?
Right, exactly. And I'll be honest with you, I've never been a fan of the DH. Never. I mean, I just feel like play. Yeah. I mean, that's just, I don't know. That's just
it has to do with the investment in the pitcher. They don't want the pitcher getting hit, getting hurt, getting spiked. I get it.
And look at how much people are making. I mean, what did Soto get for a contract? $700 million?
It was $750 million.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and then Guerrero just got $500 million. And this actually is a great segue, Joey, because right now there's a huge idea of a work stoppage. I believe after 2026.
Right.
You've seen, I'm sure, the meeting of Bryce Harper telling the commissioner to basically get bent and get out of the locker room when he brought up the salary cap.
Right.
I feel the salary cap might be coming in baseball.
I think it needs to be. I mean, like we just said, Juan Soto, $750 million. Can't you buy a team for that?
Some cases,
maybe Tampa.
Yes, and that leads to the other point of this is you can't just have a cap though. You have to have a floor.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You have to make it a competitive level, and I could see where the players are going to fight this tooth and nail.
Of course, nobody wants salary cap.
They're the only sport with no salary cap.
Right.
You guaranteed money. Like they get every single dollar that's in that contract, whether they finish with that team or not.
Right.
And I can see why that would be a huge thing that they don't want to give up as they move forward. But from the owner's standpoint, I can see where they would want to make it more of a competitive field where you have to say the bottom team's got to spend at least $50 million, and we can't go over $150 million.
Absolutely. So, Joe, let's dive into sports and film.
So, Joey, this week, let's talk about our favorite baseball movie. What's yours?
This is funny because I have another show called The Best Pictures. Don and I are both avid baseball fans, and we have one show a year where all we do is talk about baseball movies.
Which is a lot of great ones. So we don't need to necessarily come right out with our favorites. We can spend a couple minutes just kind of throwing out great movies.
Yeah, right. I mean, I actually texted him the other night asking him what he thought his favorite one was, and we kind of both agreed 8 Men Out.
Okay.
Great cast. Obviously, it's based on a true story about the Black Sox scandal.
Right.
John Cusack, Charlie Sheen, David Strathairn. Really good cast. Moneyball was also a really good movie. What are a couple of your favorites, Joe?
So I'm more on the entertainment side of it more than the movie, like great movie thing. I loved The Sandlot. Was one of my absolute favorite movies of any type of any kind, whether it's baseball, kids movie, whatever. The Sandlot to me was just unbelievable because I'm so nostalgic and reminiscent of when times like that existed, when you could just go play ball anywhere at any time against anybody. So that to me was just awesome. And then quite frankly, I was an impressionable young man, and Major League was a wonderful movie, full of everything I loved as a young teenage boy. Having Wesley Snipes stealing 100 bases and hanging the gloves on his wall, Pedro Serrano telling the Joe Boo, all of it, the Vaseline ball, just so much of it was just so fun. And I can't go by my TV when I'm doing chores if that pops on without watching parts of it.
Oh, no, you have to. That's one of those movies that you absolutely, if it's on, I own it. And still, even with commercials and stuff, I'm still going to stop and watch it.
So, I know there's other better, rated, more highly, nominated award baseball movies out there, Fields of Dreams, stuff like that. The entertainment value to me is just always going to be what that was.
Oh, yeah, the part where Charlie Sheen's throwing at, the mannequin or whatever, and he rips his head off, and there's dents all over the whole thing.
And underrated character, Bob Uecker in the movie.
Oh, great. He was
unbelievable,
awesome.
Just sitting up there calling the game. I mean, you can't beat just that entertainment value.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Another thing that I found out this year, and I can't remember which of the two movies it was, because there were two similar movies, Rookie of the Year and Little Big League.
Right.
Where the kid ended up having to do with the team and stuff. One of them, their mother, is actually the mother of Pete Crow Armstrong, an actual Major League Baseball player.
Really? I didn't know that.
So I found that out at the All-Star game, but I can't remember which were those two, because they were both one ended up being a kid playing baseball, one ended up being a kid owning or managing the team
right, I think
something.
Rookie of the Year was the one where the kid hurt his shoulder.
I think so. So I can't remember I can't remember which of the two movies, but one of them, the mother of that kid, is the mother of an actual major leaguer. And I thought that was just pretty, small world thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Going back to The Sandlot, though, I actually went and saw that the last day of 6th grade.
That's awesome.
It was my friend Dan Davis's birthday party.
Yeah.
We all went there at the Bellows Falls Opera House after school, the last day of school. It was just,
Talk
I remember
about
that.
nostalgia right
That
there.
was such a great experience. I loved that movie,
Yeah, 8 Men Out was great because I remember learning about the Shoeless Joe Jackson story when I was younger. It was something I didn't know about as a baseball fan that definitely opened my eyes up to it and made me learn a little bit more about it. Great movie, absolutely great movie. Field of Dreams was a great movie. Bull Durham, great movie. I mean, there's just so many baseball movies that have been made over the years. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Costner had his hat trick of the three, the third one being For Love of the Game.
Oh, was that the one where he was a pitcher for the Tigers or something like? Okay, yeah.
I mean, that was definitely the least, not the least best, but of the three, that's my least favorite of the three.
Also, probably the least
most popular
and stuff.
I mean, I would go Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, and then For Love of the Game. Yeah. And that's nothing against For Love of the Game. I thought it was good. It was just my least favorite of the three. Yeah. And he is an avid baseball fan, huge baseball junkie.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to get that topic out because baseball movies are fun to talk about. And it's actually fun to know you have an actual show about it. So let's dig into our random athlete quiz of the week.
All right, I'm looking forward to this.
So every show, we're going to have a random athlete. This week, I have a random athlete selected for Joey. So I'm going to read off a series of clues to see if Joey can come up with my random athlete. So I've got my sheet here. So Joey, today's random athlete was a member of the 1989 men's NCAA basketball championship team from the University of Michigan. He still ranks first in career points, single season field goals, single season field goals attempted, as well as he shot 51.6% from three in 1988-89, which is still a record for Michigan. In the NBA, he was the number 4 overall pick of the Miami Heat. He was a 3-time NBA All-Star, won the NBA championship in 2000 with the Los Angeles Lakers. That was that team that kind of added a couple of old veterans like Gary Payton and whatnot, I believe. So his career path, 1998 to 1995 with the Miami Heat, 1995 to 99 with the Charlotte Hornets, 1999 to 2000 with the Los Angeles Lakers, 2000 to 2001 with your New York Knickerbockers, 2001 to 2003 with the Houston Rockets, 2003 to 2004 with the Clippers. The later years of his career, he was a one-and-gun guy. For his career, he averaged 18.3 points per game, shot 40% from three. Averaged a career high 26.8 points per game with the Hornets in 96-97 while shooting 47% from three. So he was lights out around the time that you and I were friends back in the day for the Heat Hornets time frame. Great shooter. Went to the University of Michigan. Was on the 89 team. that won the championship?
I was going to say Glenn Rice.
You absolutely got it.
Okay. I was on the thought. I don't remember him playing.
Great job, Joe.
I don't remember him playing for the Knicks.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
Excellent. So,
One of the best shooters of his generation.
oh, God, so much fun.
God,
And
him and Mitch Richmond at the time.
and Reggie Miller. Could you imagine the three of them in today's game?
Oh, I know.
Like, these guys are shooting 14 threes. He did that shooting 6 threes. Like,
yeah. They probably averaged 50, 60 points a game.
Great job, Joey. Great
Thanks.
job. I wasn't sure you'd get that one.
No, that was good, Joe. That was good. That was tough.
All right, so now we're going to segment into, let's dive in to our final segments. Joey, I know you had a final thought for today, so why don't you go ahead and get started?
I do. It's with very sadness that I talk about this. Ryan Sandberg was my favorite player growing up all time. I actually asked my Little League coach to play second base because of Ryan Sandberg. He was declared cancer-free back in late 2023. And then not only did it come back around Christmas of 2024, but it spread. And unfortunately, at the age of 65, he just lost his battle a couple of weeks ago. 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove winner, won the 1984 National League MVP. Just a great all-around player. Yeah. You know, he got 200 hits in a year, scored over 100 runs many times, stole over 50 bases many times, and hit over 300 a couple times. You know, just a great player. And not only that, he was a great human being. Yeah. You know, he ended up coaching for a while, and it's just really sad because I remember when they announced that it had come back and that it had spread, I was just shocked that just one day I turned on the TV and...
Yeah. I mean, he was the face of the Cubs for much of our childhood.
He was. I mean, and yeah, he was my favorite player growing up, and it's just too bad. Rhino, you were one of a kind.
Yep. He was. He was a great player. I remember he was on one of the video games, like Bases Loaded 3 or something like that. Pretty much, I remember a bunch of his baseball cards. Him hitting his home run finish swing was, he had a very unique finish to his home run swings. Mm-hmm. He was a great player, great guy. Sad he's lost, and thanks for that, Joey. Yeah. So my final thoughts are going to be a little bit different. I just kind of want to talk about that I'm really excited to be able to bring this opportunity to the community. I've wanted to talk sports for a long time, and I've always kind of followed from afar the high school sports as much as you could. Nowadays, there are avenues to follow them with the New Hampshire sports page over across the river in New Hampshire, and SportsIllustrated.com does a bunch of stuff with the high school sports as well as Max Preps. So a lot of it's available, but it's really, really fun to see kids excel and achieve things that they've achieved by pushing themselves. And there's a lot of great coaches in the community, a lot of great parents that drive their kids to all these things. And I just look forward to putting a spotlight on the hard work and the efforts of these kids as we move forward. And that's really what my goal here is. And we'll have our fun talking about our Let's Catch Up and our national sports and stuff like that. But I think Joey and I both are on the same page here that we really want to give just something different for these student athletes in the area.
Well said, Joe.
So our next show, I think we're going to record in about 2 weeks, Joey. I'm hoping just to have a little bit more fall sports to talk about and maybe some preseason scrimmages, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Definitely bring the camera up to the field, get some highlights, even just practice, whatever. Maybe grab a couple of interviews with maybe some student athletes or coaches. Definitely going to have some good clips going forward. And that's really what this show is about. It's about giving back to the community, letting them know this Tac TV is here. This is a place you should utilize.
Right. Well said, Joey. All right. Well, for Joey Powers, I'm Joe Brooks. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time, and hopefully you listen.